I just would like to welcome each one of you here today. In full welcoming of exactly where you are now and now and now. And giving full permission to exactly whatever's arising is good training. If we can practice together here, can bring that growing understanding into your life. So I'm curious to see what has been opening up for you this week in regards to the homework and just where you're at. And I'd just like to invite a big open-hearted allowance to the space, like formally invite. As a group in our virtual room here, and also within each one of you own rooms. Just have your room be an open allowance, big heart, where everything is welcomed. So that some deep rest can be found within yourself. A relaxation into deep rest. I think we forget how held we are, especially if we haven't been held in an adequate enough way by our own parents when we were little. That we don't really fully know how held we are by life, by the universe, by the earth. And that's the beauty of sinking into presence and letting things be as they are, because presence comes forward then. And presence is allowance. That's our true nature when they talk about true nature. I think most people long for home. And that's what leads people to on a spiritual kind of search. And home has a feeling to it because we're sensing beings, we have bodies. The home has a feeling to it. And it feels whole, it feels welcoming, it feels like everything that we imagine to be not welcomed. Find a place of resting in a much larger context of what always is welcoming. I like to bring up one thing that apparently Osho said, and I'm not a big Osho person, but I like this. He said, have your yes be so big that all the no's are contained within it. So that's that open, allowing space that is so big right? That our personal resistances and conditionings and our little yeses and nos are the aspect of us that wants to still be in control in life because it seems scary to let go, is all part and parcel of the whole. That's what unity consciousness is. Unity consciousness contains the whole. So you can still feel like a sense of me, like that you're you, and at the same time know that you're part of the whole. And that is a very healing balm. Healing balm, and that's our birthright. And people have been writing about it for thousands of years. It's not unattainable because it's our birthright. Conditioning just narrows the vision, and our fears narrow our vision. It's not even. We have words for it, we call it awakening, realization, enlightenment, different stuff, right? But really, it's about relaxing our narrowed vision of personal sense of me and now. To sink back into our birthright, what we already are, no matter what we've gotten or not gotten from our primary caretakers. Because they didn't give that sense of wholeness in any kind of way, it's because they didn't have it to give. So we're each in our own way responsible in the end to finding our own way back to the home, to home. And that's one of the reasons why it feels good to come together like this, because we're each in our own way finding our way. And we each have unique configurations and passages to go through, the way that life challenges us. Right? And I've said this before, and it's just an ongoing theme. It is an ongoing theme until it isn't anymore. Which, who knows how long control wants to stay engaged on board in more and more subtle ways. But holding on tightly is what gets in the way of sensing into our totality. That's all it is. It's a grasping. And so surrendering that, letting go of that hold. And you can feel it physically. You can feel it even mentally. Sometimes you can tune into how the mind is tight. Even there's a grasping in the mind with beliefs and thoughts and contractions of the mind. See, and all that can still happen when the more, let me put it this way, the more that we relax into presence for our natural state, those things can still arise, those patterns of conditioned ways of being that are grasping and holding. But then they're almost like floating in warm water and can just unwind and relax. So it's not like you have to wait till all that's unwound and relaxed in order to feel a sense of presence and open up to the totality of what we really are. It's like it kind of comes like in these little balanced movements. More presence comes into your life, a feeling of relaxation and openness. And then more unwinding and letting go happens because it feels safe and feels like it's held. And then a bit more presence comes in, and then some deeper rooted relaxing comes and letting go until they're kind of like almost 50-50. And then the more the sense of that you are the totality, the more the uncovering and then what they call embodiment occurs. Embodiment is just the deepening awareness of truth into the system. Because truth already is, it's not like it makes it more true, but it deepens in the mind's capacity to relax and let go, held beliefs and ways of being as if they're going to protect us and save us. And then it relaxes in the body where pain body lives and stored tension and contraction. The body is like a storehouse of memory. Relaxes in the heart to where the heart can start blooming so that it's natural radiance and way of being in the world where it doesn't see through the eyes of an undivided self. It sees actually it's in love with all of itself more and more. Even the things that are difficult here and in the world and with others. It can see it, and it can even still have preference around it, but it relaxes its hold of how things should be, and it enters more into the mystery. Not that I need to know mind, but I don't know mind, and it's all, that's fine to not know. Even not things being not fine has a fineness to it, strangely. And then deeper yet is the physical body and its instinctual drives and its instinct to protect and survive. And this can come in different kinds of waves. It's not all linear. Even in the course of one day, you may feel that the contraction of the body and survival comes up, like when we're cold or something, right? Financial worries or health crises or cars zoom by you. There's just this, contraction back. It's like a rubber band, it snaps back. And that too can be held in presence and let it float there with understanding and acceptance and even love and just kind of like, oh yeah, I can see how scary it would be to be a body in this unknown place. Even people talking to us in a certain way or can bring up fear of in the body, survival, and fear of not being liked can bring up survival issues. It's all kind of wound up together. But even if it sounds like a lot, like how is this all going to happen? Really, the focus remains on the sense of presence, your true nature, whatever it is, whatever access you have to it. The sweetness of being, the state of consciousness that is lets go of identity and need to hold on. Whatever it is, an openness. And let that little sliver or bigger sliver or wide lens, whatever it is, let it just grow. Just give it permission to have its way, to grow in your life. Let it just be like a balm. It's not a make-believe thing. You know, I'm not the only one, obviously, that talks about this. And that's a good thing. You know why? It means there's truth to it. Right? More and more people are able to talk about it or clarify it and celebrate it. It loves to be shared because there's a love affair for the whole. And it just kind of shows that there's truth to it. And it's in the 1,000-year texts, you know, as well. But we get to open up to it here now with each other and within your own space. It's your personal relationship to that. Sometimes it feels like it's outside of you, but the truth is it's not. So that's the growing edge. And everybody's here that's here's life is your own personal relationship to that and how it's opening you up and how much of you can let go into it. And I'm happy to share with you how safe it is. You're completely in good hands with this self that you are, the greater self. And little self can really relax and be taken care of and be held in the way that it's always wanted. Having the little self in charge is no fun. Becomes a little despot, out of control, like a 2-year-old or a teenager. Because it was never meant to be in control. It was just meant to give enough sense of self to operate. And you know, we can catch it now and say, hey, it's okay, you can let your crown go. You were never meant to rule. It's not even its fault that it's been doing a terrible job. Because when consciousness focuses on something, that's what it gets. If it's been focusing on the small self, running the show as if that's what's needed, that's what it'll get. But when the wider lens of consciousness opens up from being a finite point of a sense of me to a larger point of view and saying, oh my God, I'm the whole thing. This is just an aspect of me. Then things can come into balance and harmony. And then we go, and then what's always been, what they say, you know how they say what's always been, moves into the foreground. So that's basically kind of where we're all at in different kinds of ways, you know. It's all a journey of letting go of the reins of control. And it, you know, and so there's really no end point. So you can feel in good hands that there's no end point, that you are exactly where you are. And the more honest you can be with yourself about where you're at, the more it can open up. Okay? And sometimes it's like it changes, right? It changes in the course of the day. In one moment, it's really narrowed down and it's like really contracted. A little pain body thing coming up, and maybe even right now. And then it can open up into just like you're in nature and you're just looking at a tree and you forget yourself. See, nature is great that way. It's easy, or animals, or children, right? It's great to be in the presence of that which is not identified with the self, because it reminds us of something very true and very real. And so give yourself over to that. It's the greatest Christmas gift you can give yourself, is give yourself over to letting go. So it's about letting go. But we may have conversations about holding on, and I welcome whatever wants to come up.